Morning, Year 10. I'm hoping that this video will be helpful for you. I know that some people did really well with the Macbeth planning. I'm hoping we get similar results with the An Inspector Calls one. If you do have any questions after watching this, please feel free to email your subject teacher. And if there's anything that you want to run by with them before you submit it, please make sure you do. Thanks very much. So the question that we need to focus on is not just how Sheila changes, but why Sheila changes as well. Okay, now we'll get to the why section shortly, but the first thing I want us to think about is how Sheila changes throughout the play. Okay. Now the first part of that is how Sheila responds to her family and to the inspector, which is what I want us to focus on next. Now you'll notice here that I've got 3 different adjectives to describe Sheila at different points of the play. I've put naive for how we could describe her at the opening of the play, assertive for how the play goes on, and insightful at the end of the play. I've picked out a quotation for each of those. So for example, for naive, I've said at the opening of the play she appears to be immature and easily led. And a quotation to prove that is, "I'm sorry, Daddy, actually I was listening." And I've said that Sheila shows her naivety and lack of maturity in the way she reacts to her father. She's quick to apologise and she wants to behave well. The term Daddy also shows that she is quite childish. And again, I've done the same for the adjectives assertive and insightful. Not only am I talking about the language here, I'm also discussing the structure. Both of these things come under AO2. Now in the previous slide, we discussed how the character of Sheila changes throughout the play. In this slide, we're thinking about why the character of Sheila changes throughout the play. Now we have discussed already that towards the end, she becomes more insightful, more open to the inspector's ideas. But why is this? Priestley, as we know, decided to create the character of the inspector as a mouthpiece for his own socialist views. He felt that the younger generation, including characters like Sheila, were more open to change. By having the inspector impart his own views on Sheila, we see that Priestley is almost using Sheila as symbolic of the younger generation being open to change. Now, focusing on what we've already looked at and hitting those assessment objectives through answering the how and why side of that question, I want us to look at this model plan that one of my students in my class made for their Macbeth plan last week. Now, you'll notice that they've planned it in a way that lets them hit each assessment objective. They've chosen their quotation. They've got their analysis of that key term and what it means and what it shows about that character, and then they've linked to context. Now, you may choose to plan in a different way, but I personally feel that this method, by trying to hit each AO in each paragraph, gives you a really sound structure of how you should be planning. Now you'll see in this slide, I've done the same but for inspector calls. I've split it up into AO1, our quotation, AO2, our analysis, and AO3, our context. By doing this for each paragraph, we are able to build our own response using what we have already worked out about the character of Sheila and build that into our own essay.